So here's a match against Egg Tang. Egg Tang is a very good player, always very scary to run into on the ladder. So in this particular match he is running a 4-tank box. So he has Landius, Leyden, Juggler, and Albedo. This is still week 6, so Hilda was not out yet. So being that this is a 4-tank box, I do decide to ban a DPS first, in this case Yulia. As always, Yulia is very good against slow push boxes, so I definitely want to get rid of her. He first picks Elwin here, which makes sense. He's got lots and lots of glory characters here. I can only try to keep him at bay using Old Landius, and I also banned 2 of his tanks to try to force a tank pick. Egg Tang's having none of that. He keeps picking DPS, so he picks Light of Genesis. So he's comfortable with running tankless for this fight. He then picks Mariel. So being that this is the 6th week, Light of Genesis and Mariel are still pretty new. So it's possible he's just experimenting around with different big ban styles, which is something a lot of the higher tier players do. So when you're in the ladder, it's actually easier to beat top players in big wells like Egg Tang, because on weeks like this, they're probably experimenting around and trying out new things. So in this case, he's given a test world to his Light of Genesis and Mariel. So I got rid of his tanks, but he's getting a hold of a very powerful glory team here. Now that he has Illustrial, he has 2 Guard Piercers. Illustrial is arguably the strongest assassin in the game right now, especially with an Elwin faction buff on her back. And this is the first time I'm playing against Mariel. And I gotta say, Mariel is absolutely horrifying. Before she decides to engage you, not only is she a nice healer, but she's also very tanky, and it can be kind of difficult to kill her. Although most people do run Twilight Star on Mariel, which makes her a little bit easier to kill. However, if a player deems it necessary, they can just bring Redeemers on her, and she will be able to revive. So once she does decide to engage, it's very hard to stop her from killing one of your units. If you are a rush player, she is going to get to attack one of your units twice, and if you are a slow tank push player like I am, she's gonna attack your tank for a bit of damage, and then she gets like 8 movement, and she can run over and just take out whoever she wants. Beyond that, she's just a strong DPS in general, so even after she loses her Guard Pierce, she can hit your tank pretty hard. So in this case, I kind of predicted that Egg Tang would bring infantry troops on Mariel. I mean, it makes sense. You know, if you have Elwin, the best thing to do is to pair an infantry unit with him to punish Lancer choices. And even without Mariel, he did have Light of Genesis, who brought Free Strike. So of course, with Lancer troops off the table, I brought Royal Cavalry. So if you'll notice, since my opponent has 2 very strong Guard Piercers on his side, I decided to bring Redeemers on Chris. I of course brought Indomitable on Old Landius, and Rosenseal has both Shrine Maidens and her 3-cost skill. So all 5 of my units have some kind of revive going for them. So here comes the teleport from Tensei Jessica. She's about to engage me. And in a lot of ways this sort of negates the use of Old Landius tiles because she can just teleport Elwin closer. Now I actually find this a slight bit of an odd choice on Egg Tang's part. He decides to shoot the 3-cost skill at Landius, which makes Leyden guard him. Light of Genesis' 3-cost skill is only not effective against holy units. So this is one of the few things that Leyden is actually better at tanking than pretty much everybody else. Freya and Emilia can take it as well, but I'm assuming he's doing this because he wants to set up my Leyden for a kill from his Elwin, and he didn't want to risk having to ram into my Landius with Elwin and fail the kill. So I use Chris to heal up here a bit. Of course, being that Chris is using Redeemers, she does very, very bad damage. Follow up from Illustrial, those Old Landius tiles really aren't helping that much here. So at this point, there's really no way for me to save my Leyden anymore. Rosenseal's end turn heal with her 3-cost is pretty weak, so there's no way it's going to heal Leyden back up enough so that he can take an Elwin hit. So instead I just push his units back. So Leyden's gone. Landius attacks into Elwin here, and actually manages to KO him. This actually really surprised me, but I think the reason this happened is because he has not used Sword Soul on Landius himself yet. So Landius still has all his buffs, so he can hit pretty hard still. And right here you can see the crazy off-healing capabilities that Mariel has. She's all the way across the screen, she just needs to use her Prey skill, and her 3-cost passive is just going to heal up the people who need it the most, which in this case is Elwin. So now comes the follow-up from Tensei Jessica. She uses Free Strike, but thankfully I'm still at high HP, so Landius can take it thanks to the Horsies out front. I also get a Lucky Thorns activation here. This knocks Light of Genesis HP pretty low, so I can just punch her with Old Landius. And it's situations like this that make me wish I had another Gift of Eternal Life to give him. It would have been helpful to get a spot heal on Landius here, but you know, gotcha's gonna gotcha. So Illustrial Emerald Crusher on Chris actually fails to kill. So that gives me the opportunity to use another skill from Chris to heal up. At least Chris has a Gift of Eternal Life, so she can help out here. But again, because of her Redeemers, she's doing like no damage. Of course, not that it would have mattered here because, you know, all her troops are dead. Landius still has all his buffs here, so he punches Alestria and takes her out. So here comes Mariel. Mariel's first attack, of course, is not very strong. You know, her talent is reducing her damage, and she has class disadvantage against the Royal Calves. But of course, her goal here is to run in and take out Chris. Clearly, Egg-Tang is not concerned about my old Landius because he does not have a Gift of Eternal Life. And not only does she take away Chris's first life, but her attack skill here actually knocks her back out of Landius' guard range. So that's just even crazier because now I can't guard her anymore. So, bye-bye Chris. The one nice thing is that as strong as Mariel is, she only gets one guard pierce per game. So now I have an option to turtle a little bit more. Alestria is gone, so I don't need to worry about her piercing guard and killing my 2 leftover squishy units. My Rosen is using Shrine Maidens, but it's doubtful she would be able to eat a hit from one of these powerhouse DPS, even with the Shrine Maidens. So now my biggest problem here is that I have kind of weak healing on my side. Rosen is just not that great at healing single target. I mean, she's passable at it, but she has low intelligence, and her heals actually have lower multipliers than standard heals. The advantage of Rosen is that she heals a lot of times, because if you end your turn near her, she heals you. After she heals you, she gives you a buff that lets you heal more if you get attacked. The problem, of course, is that Royal Calves require an HP threshold to function properly, and it's going to be very difficult for me to maintain that. So Elwin finally strips away all my Landius' buffs here. I probably should have just held off on using the faction buff. I decided to heal up here instead of attacking as Elwin. I wanted to make sure there were some calves around to stop Mariel from hitting Landius really hard, and there's no guarantee that old Landius would have been able to kill Elwin here. However, the nice thing is that I actually have turn initiative now, so I can attack Elwin here, and I'm going to be able to attack him again next turn. So here comes Mariel, uses God King's Wrath, and just barely misses the kill on my Landius. So I guess those calves really put in the work there. So like I said, I get turn initiative now, so I can attack his Elwin and take him out. And also, if you'll notice that his Mariel's faction buff is about to run out. So by doing this, I am also denying him to refresh his faction buff. But Landius was too heavily injured, so even though I get a blood shield here, he's still not going to be able to stop this hit from killing him. Another thing worth noting about Mariel is just how low the cooldown on her 2-cost attack skill is. It only has a 3-turn cooldown, and technically it's actually lower than that, because Mariel is almost never going to go into battle without her prey skill. So that just shaves another turn off of the cooldown of that skill. So he gets to use God King's Wrath again here. But the RNG gods decide to throw me a bone, and I get a blood shield here once again. So this match is probably triggering a lot of single target players right now, watching all these blood shields and thorns going off. So Rosen's 3-cost skill is finally back up. So this puts her revive back up as well. So even if I lost Landius here, I might have had a little bit of a safety net. Although of course Egg-Tang is still ahead in damage, so that's kind of a problem for me. So I try to put some pressure on Egg-Tang here by attacking him with Landius and following up with Landius. I don't get a KO here because, as you can see, the Molnir from Mariel is just stripping all my buffs. And Landius has sub 1000 attack right now. So Landius isn't going to do anything with his noodle arms here. So his Florentia is actually trapped in the fog now. So he's going to do a last-ditch attack to try to take out Landius. As long as he can do that, he will have a better chance of being able to survive to the end of the 12 turns. But he gets the final insult here. I get another blood shield. But in this case, I don't think I actually needed it. I think for this attack I could have survived without the blood shield, albeit with pretty low HP. But either way, I would be able to block off his Florentia after this, and after that I should be able to combine some attacks for a KO on his Mariel. So yeah, there's a match with the crazy meta glory characters being played by one of the best players. With a lot of luck on my side, I was able to win. But you know what? A win's a win. So I won against Egg-Tang. Ha! Take that, imaginary naysayers. Okay, see you guys next time.